Do you have a Dallas famous moment? Whether you've brushed shoulders with a celebrity in DFW or had your own 15 minutes of fame in the city, we want to hear about it. Send us a DM or email or a voice message to share your story to be featured on an episode of the podcast. We look forward to hearing from you, and thanks for your support. Foundation 45 is a 501c3 nonprofit that funds counseling services for mental health, addiction, and suicide survivors. In addition to providing services, it works to break the stigma surrounding these topics. Foundation 45 recognizes that musicians, artists, and creative types are often at a higher risk for issues with mental health and addiction. The organization's goal is to serve the Dallas-Fort Worth creative community by providing free, top-tier mental health and recovery services. You can learn more about Foundation 45 at foundation45.org. Foundation 45. Live fast, die old. I'm Andrew Sherman. I'm a Texas transplant who has always been in pursuit of art as a career. I've played in bands, pursued an acting career in Hollywood, but I found it behind the lens of a camera here in Dallas, Texas. I was born in New York. I've lived in Chicago, Los Angeles, Austin, but I love Dallas. There's a magical artistic scene in Dallas that mostly goes unnoticed to the outside world. This podcast is focused on what makes it so special and the people who make it thrive artistically. If you don't live here, and even if you do, you might not have heard of them. This is the Dallas Famous Podcast. So who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all grown up? Who you gonna be? Who you gonna be when you're all for us? Yeah. This week on the Dallas Famous Podcast, it's the incredible Stone Mecca. Stone is a multi-talented musician, producer, and composer who has made a significant impact in the world of funk, soul, and hip-hop. His journey into music started at a young age. His first big break came when he toured with the legendary Earth, Wind & Fire, launching a career that would later see him working with Ruthless Records and Ice Cube. Now serving as the music director for Wu-Tang Clan as well as RZA, Stone Mecca brings his unique sound to their iconic performances. Stone is known for his electrifying live shows, blending raw funk with socially conscious lyrics. I had an incredible conversation with him, and I know you'll... Hello, we are back here at the Deep Ellum Community Center. I am sitting with Stone Mecca. He's one of the coolest people I know.
My dude.
Yeah. Stone is a musician. You play everything. You're an engineer, producer. So let's just start with you're born in you lived in LA. You started there, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your Dallas? How did you find your way to Dallas?
I had come out here a few times. My the girl I was seeing she was in LA. I met her in LA, but she lived here. She's from here. And I had come out here a few times, and then my cousin actually moved out here, and they bought some property and they wanted me to look at some stuff and all this. So I would come out here and there, and then I saw the music scene and peeped a few things. And so we had a kid, and it was really all for my kid mainly.
Okay.
It was mainly because, you know, Dallas had a better school system. He didn't have to be around the elements I was around growing up. In LA, you know, I grew up in Inglewood, and you know I mean, there's gangs everywhere, but you know, it was kind of like the culture out there, and
right.
and it still hasn't died, you know, even though it's been it's not as, you know, publicized and everything. So the thing is like just him having to deal with any of that kind of stuff, like he didn't need to.
Yeah,
I've been enough places to know he didn't need to, and my family was kind of, you know, scattered by then. Wasn't really nobody around, and I wanted him to have that experience of being around his grandparents like I did when I was younger, and this is their only grandchild out on this side from his mother's side, and they love him to death, his cousins. So I wanted him to have that.
Right. So
schooling was better, rated better. I knew how it was in schools in LA. A lot of them would pass you even if you didn't get it, you know.
Just want to get you out of there.
Yeah, so I wanted him to have a different experience. So I already had my connections in LA when it came to music and all of that, and it's only 2.5 hour flight.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, let's do this. So I, you know, made that happen.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to get more detail, but I before I forget, like I had this overwhelming question because you're from LA, you're working your first like I guess, notable stuff was with who? With like Ruthless and with, you're basically West Coast scene.
Right.
And then now you're working with Wu-Tang, which is East Coast. Like, is there some, like it's just interesting how you, like, you live here. It's like you feel like you're a man of the country. Like, is that, have you ever thought of it like that, or?
I mean, I've watched it unfold,
Yeah.
but I think it's the thing of when people get around you and they see something that that inspires them or might elevate what they're doing or something like that, they want to pull you in. In the beginning, that was never my goal. I wasn't even trying to do most of the stuff you see me doing. It just so-called happened because I started off, I was just an artist. I just wanted to, play my own music and get out there, do it that way. Write my own stuff, tell my life story through it. I understood the power of music, and I wanted to utilize that for my own well-being in a sense. And, of course, to inspire others with what I do. But the production thing, playing on different things, all these things came about, because of the skills I've gathered in a sense. My first notable thing for me was I went on to Earth, Wind and Fire when I was 19 or 20. That was my first.
Wow.
First. And I mean, I did other things with different people, but as far as notable, and it was still 5 of the original members, and they still had, the stage was magic and all that. They disappear in the box at the end and the whole thing. So it was like I got to see the real.
Oh, wow.
And how beautiful their songs are. So I had to experience that nightly and see how that works going around the world. And, that really gave me hope in a sense of like the industry itself and seeing that you can do something of value and that of a moral stand as well too, and it work. Then when I got back, that's when, the other stuff started happening because I was playing, and a bass player friend of mine, Payback, he was working with Cube. So he brought me in on a session. And this was something, like I said, nothing I planned,
right.
But it ended up being where when Cube saw everything I can do, play bass, guitar, drum, whatever, keys and all, he would just call me in sometimes it'd be a Crazy Tunes would lay a drum track, and that would be it. Then I'll build the rest of it over it. And once that happens, it was like we'd go to Street Knowledge, the studio that he had. Then he'd call me straight to his house. So I'll go over to his house. We record over there, And then that started, and people started hearing, and then other people started,
right?
Saying, "Let's, get him over here. Let's do this."
How did you get the Earth, Wind and Fire gig though?
So we used to. In high school, we used to street dance, which to us was just dancing, but we, we had a scene in LA and it was ridiculous. We did a lot of raw stuff that you saw, you wouldn't have known. It went around the world. Like a lot of people from that scene did individual things that were incredible. One dude was dancing with Madonna. 2 other dudes were the backup dancers, Heart and Soul behind Bobby Brown. Fatima that choreographed everything from Michael Jackson. Everybody, she used to come to our rehearsals and learn from us, And so we were all good at all these different things. I still did music away from all of that. I would go home, be on my guitar, but I also know how to dance and stuff. So, so Philip Bailey's son was 1 year behind me in high school. He went to my high school. So we were cool. And then after we graduated, he remembered how raw we were, when it came. And Earth, Wind and Fire was talking about getting some people to come and choreograph, dance, whatever. And so he thought about it. He was like, man, he wanted to go on the tour, actually. So he called me and was like, yo, could you think we could do this? He wanted me to teach him. So we started going and like, I started showing him stuff. And we both, got in. I got him good. And then when they finally had the auditions, we went in and we had 3 or 4 auditions. It started out with like maybe 300 people, and it ended up being just me and this other guy. but he didn't even make it.
Huh.
But the last tryout, Earth, Wind, and Fire actually came. So Maurice White and all of them came. They saw me and they were like, whoa, you know, he talked to me afterwards and all of this. So later on, I found out I got the gig. But then when they saw what I can do, I ended up teaching the choreographers that they hired.
Oh, wow.
So they kind of got rid of them. And I started teaching, you know, made the kind of the whole set. And then when they found out I could play, it just added all kind of other stuff. So I would play sometimes, you know, I choreographed. I did a lot of different things at a young age with them. And the show was just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah.
So it was really good because it was like, you know, the guy that did all the Prince's clothes and stuff for Louis Vine for Purple Rain and all that kind of stuff. He was the guy on tour with Earth, Wind, and Fire that did all that. They made our outfits from scratch. Like, you can tell them what you want.
Wow.
So it was like that. They had a barber, a masseuse that went on tour with them, a chef. So I got to see this big production, and these people, you know, they were still chasing the bus overseas with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
So I got to be a part of it and see all of that, and it was like, wow. You know, it put a stamp on everything. And then all while we were out, Maurice saw my talent. He saw not just that I can dance, but everything else. And he was like, man, when we get back, you know, when we get back, we go, yeah, I'm going to have you come by. We going. So, you know, it was really cool. And that's a whole nother story. When we got back, I'll tell you about that later. But so it kind of snowballed from there as far as that went. But that had nothing to do with the rest of it. Like the Ice Cube stuff and all that.
Right.
I had nothing to do with that. I didn't come off of that into that.
Huh.
It was just, you know.
Well, but it does say, it speaks to, you know, the kind of artist you are, that, you know, your talent shines through. But let's go back even further, like, because, like, we just, all of a sudden you're in Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like, you started it, and you grew up in Inglewood. When were you starting to pick up instruments first?
Well, my father always had a piano. He played sax. He used to have a band when I was younger, so they used to come up to the house and rehearse and stuff like that. And I was always interested. First, I always loved music. That was the one thing. I used to sit in front of them. I thought everybody did, but I found out later it wasn't everybody. But I used to go in there and sit down with my father's albums when I was little. Like, I had to learn how to even put it on the thing. And I would remember albums that I liked that they played and put them on there and sit in front of the speaker by myself and just be out and feel all the emotions and the journey. I felt all of it.
Huh.
And I thought it was just something everybody did, but I realized later it wasn't, you know, and it was the reason why I know how to hear music the way I do. But so it started with that, hearing my father's band, and I always wanted to play drums. So they got me a drum set, and when I was 9 years old or so, and I just started playing it, started teaching myself, and couldn't get me off of it once I started learning, you know. And then when I turned 16, I saved a little bit of my own money, and I went to Sears actually and bought a little first electric guitar, you know, and came back home and just sat in my room. And that's the thing. I was outgoing because I was always outside playing with my friends. I was on the block full of boys. We went outside. We played all day. We skateboarded. We rode bikes. We jumped. We made ramps. We did the whole thing. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
You know, but I found a passion. And I would go sit in my room for hours and not even know it was hours. And I would teach myself. So I made up techniques to teach myself just out of my own, okay, well, I need my fingers to move like this, so what can I do, you know? And I never wanted to sound like nobody else, so I never listened to stuff to try to copy it. I never, like a lot of guitar players, just pile up riffs that they learned and now I can play. I never did that. I felt I was anti it, actually. I kind of wanted to have my own sound and make my own way. And my mother saw me in there so passionate about it, so she came home from work one day with a book and it said how to play the guitar. And I opened it up and I learned just a couple basic things, like a couple chords and stuff. But a lot of it was just me, the passion. Once you get it, you got it.
Yeah.
My friends used to come knocking on the door. You go, come out. I just would be in there,
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where it started. I got the guitar, and then I learned basically the bass was the guitar with 4 strings, just deeper. So I got on that, but it was a different technique because I liked the slapping. So I used to learn and then I started, put a band together with some different people, friends of mine, and we started doing things. And then, and this is another part of that other story, but once I realized they couldn't record when I wanted to record, we could play live pretty good, but when it's time to record, they were off. Like they keep time, like the dynamics was off, everything was off.
Yeah.
So that's what prompted me to, because I always had the piano around, so I would mess around in that, but that's what prompted me to learn all the instruments that I learned out of necessity, in a sense, because I wanted to get these songs out and they couldn't do it, so I had to do it.
You're hearing all these parts in your head?
I hear it all.
Yeah.
And so that's where the start of me playing everything on my albums and everything came from. And so yeah, that was kind of the beginning.
But your first album, it was it was a little bit of a different style, and you had other people singing on that. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I guess it's your first album. Like, how did that come about? Like what was the process?
Well, throughout the years, I had made a lot of music, just my own music and everything. But also, like, doing the stuff with the different artists I had been working with, the hip hop, the R&B, whatever I was doing at the time. I've always loved that stuff too. Don't get me wrong, because I grew up with all the soul stuff in the house and everything, so I knew all of that. I can hear all that too, and I had a love for it too. I wanted to put it across, but I was honest with myself as well. Like, okay, I want it to be the best it can be, and if I can't do something, I don't have any problem with having someone else do it. Because I want the whole thing. The thing that really matters is the song itself. I want the song to be as big and powerful because people deserve that for their spirit, for just everything. So I never had no problem with, having people do that. One thing I did not do when I started playing the guitar and the instruments and stuff, I never grew up in the church singing or anything like that. So I never worked on that side of me, And when it came to doing these songs, I wanted them to be the best they could. So I worked with different people, and we created this stuff a few years actually before that album came out. This was just me working with different people. The main two were when I lived in the Bay Area. That was Salakita and Alan Anthony. She wanted to work with me because she knew what I can do. She heard my stuff, so we started making songs together. Alan wanted to work with me because he heard the same thing. He was in a group before that was with Rockefeller, and they came out and had a big single out. And so he knew what I could do, like I said. So we ended up working together. We made a lot of different music. And when I met RZA in 2004, he saw me playing that kind of stuff, actually. And Alan wasn't there and Amino wasn't there, so I would have different people sing the songs. And he was really moved by it, said he was going to, his label would be up the next year, wanted to offer me, this whole thing. But anyway, so I started compiling the best songs and was like, let me just put out a song, Stone Mecca, kind of featuring these people, and just put out some good music. So that's where it kind of came from.
Right.
Some stuff I did, some stuff with them, put it together. Because that album came out in 2007. But that stuff had been done since 1990, about 90, maybe 96, 97. That stuff had already been done.
Right.
So like even when RZA licensed A Walk and O from me for Afro Samurai, that stuff was done way back in, so he had nothing to do with the production of that. That was all, stuff I did a long time before that. But I try to make music that's like that. I try to make music that doesn't have a time on it. So no matter when it comes out, it's fresh.
Right.
So that's kind of how that came about. And then I had the theme behind it, the whole alien talking and all of that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to give something good to listen to that you can put on and not have to take off. Just let it play all the way through. And so I did that. I decided to do it on my own because I had been working with RZA for a while. And there was no deal in place. There was none of that stuff like we discussed. Right. We were doing other things, but at the same time, I was like, let me, I could put this out. I'm working with him, whatever. I put it out. Then we did a Stone Mecca Bobby Digital tour. Bobby Digital Stone Mecca tour. Let me put him first because it was him mainly. We had the tour buses. We did all of that. And the same thing with that. I would play those songs. I actually auditioned the people that went on that tour to sing those songs because I didn't have Alan and Amina or Salakita with me. So all those people I put together, they came out and sung the songs that had already been done. And we would go out, do a 45-minute set in front of, or our set in front of Bobby or RZA. And with all of that stuff in front of Wu-Tang's crowd, which is a cult following. They don't want to hear shit but Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
That's it. So to win them over by like the second song and then they with us, it was a big deal. And then when Bobby come out, we'll play behind him for his whole set.
Right.
And then it really was moving and powerful that the promoters and stuff was just taking. They were like, I couldn't, And that's when he started to be more like, I love the band situation because not any band can play with a hip hop artist.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are just playing like a band. You can't do that. It's got to sound like the album, then better. It's got to be a whole nother way of looking at it because the crowd is used to hearing beats, and the artist. But when Bobby started being able to break stuff down and slow it up and talk and, it brought out another character in him as well. And we did a lot of that, actually. And from what I heard, Wu-Tang had something happen with Live Nation. So they had been banned for a lot of years.
Huh.
So this is why you didn't see them touring as a unit until recently.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Until recently, it was lifted or whatever. This is what I've heard. But Bobby always wanted them, the rest of the group, to have this power with the band, but a lot of them was like, no, we just need the DJ, And that's in their hip hop, that's what they feel. But we finally won them over.
Yeah.
We finally won them over, and now they see and feel the difference. So they appreciate the band.
Sure. I'm not from a hip hop upbringing anyway, and so I was only exposed to it, like shooting it was like really my first up close. I got into it, but I was never like around it. And to me, you put some live music with that, and I'm in all the way. And like, I can't wait to see you with them because I've not seen that yet.
Oh man, it's a big show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they're veterans now, they're celebrated now. So all over the world, it's like how it was with Earth, Wind & Fire with them. It's like the best hotels, they were selling out arenas,
Yeah, you went all over the world on that last tour.
And the stage is built for them, so it's not just like they just playing somewhere. It's an actual stage built, production, screens, everything, and pyrotechnic, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they have... and we incorporated some of the stuff me and Bobby would do in the smaller thing, like some orchestra stuff or acting. We've actually incorporated that into the show now to where there's some dancers, that come out. We keep it entertaining, Some dancers that come out. It's a samurai. He comes out and we break it down and it's like, like a movie almost with the samurai. Some actors. They come up and they do like the skits from the albums live.
Okay.
So the whole audience is saying the skit with them. It's a trip. But all these people are really cool and they're wonderful at what they do. And so it's a big production now. It's not just some rappers up there,
Right.
Because they're like, the rock stars of rap.
Yeah. Yeah. When you're doing this stuff with the whole band, Like what does that look like a rehearsal? Like when you're first before the tour, like what would that look like when you walked into the room with everybody?
Well, I'm the music director, so I usually put it together, and it's usually the band by themselves first.
Okay.
Because I know the show. I already know what to expect. I tell them what to expect from each member. I tell them what we need to do and what we need to look out for. And then I work with them on all the parts to make it where, like I said, it sounds as close to the album as possible. Then we take it further after that. And we do the hits and to make it special. You know, it's a lot that goes into it. So like I said, it starts, and then I choose different. I've had different bands for this situation.
Okay.
So the latest band, we've been there for the whole last tour, but I switched out a drummer halfway through the tour, and that's about it. And so that's kind of what that. We usually go to Jersey, to the Wu Mansion in Jersey. They still have it from the TV show, and it's been there since the 90s. So they have a studio there.
That's cool.
And we go meet there and stay there for maybe a week or two before we go out. And so we'll go over there every day and just go through the set. And if RZA has other things he's adding or how he wants to do things, we talk. If he's not in town, we'll video him in and he'll give us some pointers on what he's trying to do with the show this time and so what they know. So we kind of do it that way. And then they got a thing about rehearsing. It's like, they know they need to. RZA knows they need to, but to get them all together to do it, that's always been a problem. So he would like for that to be where we rehearse for a while.
Right.
But what it usually turns out to be is like we might come in a couple days before we actually have to go out, and it'll be wherever in whatever city that we're starting in, and they'll rent a rehearsal spot.
Okay.
And then the members come in and we'll go through their songs and how we're going to do it and all of this. And so we start off cool, but I think by like everybody falls in the pocket by maybe the fourth or fifth show.
Right.
And it's not taking nothing away from the earlier ones. It's just that we get comfortable.
Sure.
So that's kind of how that runs usually.
When you first were doing it, was there anxiety because like the guys weren't there enough to practice where you're like, I'm not sure how this is going to go?
For me, once I saw the way they operated, because I saw the way they did things. I am a perfectionist, so I would want it that way, but I can't take it personally because I can only do what I have available to me.
Right.
So we do the best we can to stay with the album because we play with a DJ too. So me and him talk to each other. Mm-hmm. We know the cues and stuff. And a lot of it is really just knowing their lyrics. So when we could do hits, when we break out, when we break it down, when we let them, and all these kind of things, those are the most uncomfortable when we first start for everybody because they're still trying to figure it out and we haven't had enough rehearsal to do it. But as far as me taking it in and taking it personal and being and having anxiety, because I've been doing it long enough to know, and I can only do what the situation offers. Mm-hmm. Of course, we would like to go in there knowing everything, but
sure.
That's the other thing about being a good musician too. You can, right there, you can move how you need to move.
Are they throwing you curveballs live ever? Like, are they changing things up like on the fly?
If that happens, me and RZA are like this with each other, kind of.
Okay.
Sometimes I tell people sometimes, like, I'm the kind of person that if I'm performing my own thing and it's not working or the crowd's not moving, it's like I get this energy in me to make something happen. So I will and get the crowd going. He has that same thing. So if it's not, so we'll look at each other and he'll say, no, let's switch this. And he'll say, play this song here. So I have to tell the band. Right. And then we'll switch it up or something like that. But it's all because we want to give the people a good show and we want to do the best we can. So,
sure. So, and as you said, you're going back out even, right?
Well, I'm also doing not just Wu-Tang, it's also the Method Man and Redman show.
Oh, okay.
So they're touring when they do stuff too. So that's coming up in August this month.
Are they playing here?
No, this one's in Denver. This was at Red Rock.
Okay. Oh, nice.
So we're doing that. And then Wu-Tang, September, we're back in Vegas for the residency, the 2 nights at the Virgin.
Okay, cool.
So those are coming up.
Do you have like from this last tour, or maybe any tour, but like a really memorable show for you personally?
Man, we did so many shows and so many wonderful shows. And people are different everywhere, you know, so overseas we get a lot more. The energy is ridiculous. They can't have seats. Like, it's just, people are going crazy.
Is that because there's not as much hip hop over there, or it's just because
it's a lot of hip hop? It's just that, you know, I think anything that comes from this side, because we've been to, well, you know, Wu-Tang itself they just have a big cult following.
Yeah.
And I figured it out when I was on the road. Why? Because it's rebellion music. And this is why.
Is that yours?
Yeah.
We have the same ringtone.
Oh, wow. I just put it on silent. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
So, yeah, they have rebellion music. And it's just like how rock, when those people turn teenagers and they want to rebel against their parents and all this kind of stuff, whatever, they go into rock and they make them mad and this and this and that, you know. That's what happened with hip hop.
Yeah.
These kids, they when they get in that stage, they want to rebel. Of course you want to hear some motherfuckers saying fuck that and this and this and that, and you know. So these different generations that get exposed to that, they have a whole nother generation of followers because they're rebellion. You know, they rebelling.
Yeah.
So they become Wu-Tang fans. It's right. Like, yeah, because my mom and them gonna hate this shit. You know what I mean? It's kind of, and it's cool.
Yeah.
As far as their peers and stuff. So when we were out and we would see these different levels of generations, and that's what it is. It's rebellion music. Yeah. It's during that age where you rebelling, you gonna jump on it.
Yeah, but I'm guessing you also have older fans because people have been following Wu-Tang for a while.
You say it again?
You have older fans too, right?
Oh no, yeah, they all come. But it's just amazing to see the different generations. Because what he does, one thing that Ruthless does in the middle of the show is he says, you know, who was born in the 70s, make some noise. And then you get a crowd screaming, who in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. You know, they go all the way up, and him and Meth do this little skit with that. And it's a roar each time. So you getting these different generations of people. I've seen people bring their kids and have them in the front so they can be fans.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah. This is the kind of following they got. lust that I felt for her, the primal energy, it slayed me. And all the times that we fucked around is still haunting me like crazy. I'm hazy, yeah. So I can't get myself together. I really think you better stay away, shit. So I can't get myself together. I really think you better stay away, shit. Stay away, shit.
I mean, it takes up a lot of time, but I mean, it's an amazing, God, I mean, it's like dream job in a lot of ways, I would think. But, you know, you still make time for your music. I mean, is that like a challenge, like right now? Because it's like you're not even here to do your shows at this point, right?
Well, you know, there's a story behind that. You know, I'm a true artist. Like, I paint pictures with my music. It's like, this is who I am. You want to know me, listen to my music. That's just, I've been able to do that. All these other things I do are things that were a result of me knowing the things that I know. And I appreciate it all. I, welcome it all. There were times where, because of my own moral integrity and stuff like that, I would look at the things I'm doing with different people and change. Like, nah, I can't be a part of that. Like, this is, because I go in, it's just the music. Sometimes I hear what they putting on the music and it's like, that ain't, it's confusing to people. You know what I mean?
Right.
Music is beautiful and then you saying this. So that had me get away from stuff. It's never been about the money for me, because if it was that, I would be ridiculous right now as far as that goes. But that's why I made If Experience Was Money. That song I made, it's all about that. So there were times, me and RZA did a show when it was Bobby Digital and Stone Mecca, and we did a show in Mammoth. And it was like people can bring their kids and stuff. So I didn't know this, and then we went there and it was these little kids, people on necks and stuff. And we're up there doing some of that Bobby Digital stuff, our regular show, where it's like, all I want to do is drink, smoke, and fuck, and all this type shit. And I'm looking at the energy and the power we put behind it and these little kids and shit. So that made me stop for a while. I wouldn't go out and work with him. I wouldn't go out on a tour with him. Like, he offered me some stuff sometimes with some money and stuff, and I was still like, and then that was just me getting to a place in my own self where I had an understanding. And when I got maybe a year or two later, something came to me and said, you know what? It's not that it's kids and I can't do it. It's the fact that I can do it if they're old enough to where this is something that they're going to get anyway, and it's not something that going to, influence them. So I thought about it. I was like, if the spots are 18 and over and this and this and that, it's not a big deal. I don't need to just stop doing it. But if it's going to be kids there and all that shit, I'm going to have a problem with it. You know? So we opened back up, started doing stuff again.
Right.
And then, you know, you kind of, if you have any kind of morality about yourself, you question things and you grow from it.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I mean,
well, you hope so. Yeah.
I feel like we're going to forget. So I want you to come back to the story about when you came back from the Earth, Wind, and Fire tour, and you're supposed to work with I forget who.
Oh, okay, with Maurice.
Yeah.
So yeah. When I came back, he was very interested in that, right? And he invited me to his house, and I went over there, and he had his pen and his pad out. I think back now and I understand where he was. I was young, so I didn't really, but he had his pen and his pad out, and we sat on the couch. He was ready to write down and make a plan, and I come in kind of knowing which direction I want to go in, but I already knew what he wanted me to do. Because at the time, you know, you had Bobby Brown, these kind of people out. I can dance, I can sing. He probably wanted me to do that whole thing.
Right.
You know, be a Bobby Brown type dude or one of them kind of guys.
Yeah.
But I was so into like the rawest, realest instrument playing music and people that were like that. You know, Sly Stone, Prince, even some rock stuff, whatever I was into that stuff, you know, and I wanted to come out like that. So I came over telling him what I kind of wanted and about the band that I had that we play, and then, you know, this and this and that. So I watched him as he put his pad down next to it. But he was always my big brother. He was like, man, you know, just let me know when you got something together. Let me check it out.
Yeah.
He was going to let me do that. We're both Sagittarius, so I got him at the time. Me and him got each other a lot on the road because even the people that had been there with him for years didn't. Like, you know, he'd be talking about some cosmic stuff, and they'd be like, what the? You know, but me and him would be in the back of the bus, and he'd be telling me stuff that's really, really cool, like the stuff they truly studied, mysticism, and like he was saying the songs. And, you know, so I got it, you know. And so when I went to finally record some stuff so I can show him, this is when I found out that they couldn't record.
Right. Okay.
So this is why it all tied together, you see. So in that attempt to make something, that's when I learned all the stuff and made some songs, a few of them. And he heard them and he actually liked them. But he was like, you know, that we need to work on some things and this and that, which I knew, you know. And so he just kind of left me to go do that. I didn't know what the hell I was doing at the time. I was just like, whatever. So time went by. We would see each other still. You know, I would go through there. He would be recording with El DeBarge or something at the studio. I'd go hang out with him.
Yeah.
You know, and me and the guitar player that had been with him for 17 years, something like Sheldon Reynolds, we were good friends too. And he was like my big brother. So, you know, and rest in energy to both of them because they both passed. They went to manifest somewhere else. So,
yeah.
But yeah, you know, time just went on. Time just went on, man. And then he got sicker because he was already going through Parkinson's at that time. And you know, but you know, I kept building. I kept doing different things. You know, so that was kind of the story of that.
I'm glad you didn't turn into Bobby Brown.
No, I don't regret.
Yeah.
None of it.
Yeah. No, because if you had been put into a position of success where you were encouraged to not play, then we wouldn't have all of your music. And like, that would be a tragedy. And like, you know, like there's a lot of dangling carrots. I lived in LA for a while. Nobody offered me anything, but I had friends I saw, you know, making some really interesting choices. And I'm like, that's not something you would do if you were doing that for yourself, you know?
Right.
So, you know.
Right. So I've always kind of stepped in my own, you know, walked in my own way, you know. And like I said, I don't regret it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, it's sort of cool. It's like, because you were your authentic self, that's what everybody wants. So you don't have to be something else in these situations. You just could be yourself. And that's like the goal for most artists, I would think.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you know, most people want to, we all want to be able to make a living from what we do. And that's where a lot of people fall short. I learned early on that music is up and down. You get money sometimes, nice money, sometimes you don't. So I figured other ways to make a living.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't have to put the pressure on the music part of it to do it.
Right.
And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, music suffers when you do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing, So even now, as far as the success I have and everything, and me doing my own stuff as an artist, I understand where the music industry is, and as far as not being able to really make no money from. I tell people this story a lot, but when I put out the Alien Man album, I think it was the second week or somewhere around there, I had 50,000 streams. This is when I really knew where the industry was, the business part of it. I got a check for $130.
Right.
And I remember not too long before that, before there was this whole streaming thing, Spotify, whatever, all these places, that if a person wanted to hear your music, they would pay 99 cents to hear the single or whatever you want, And even with that, at 50,000, that would be $50,000 compared to 130.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they bought the album back when they bought the whole album for like, even at the cheapest, $10, say that would be $500,000 compared to $150.
Mm-hmm.
This is where things are now.
Yeah.
So unless you're out touring and having a following come to your show and you're selling your merch and things like that, you won't make a living making music like before.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where the culture and the art is going to suffer a lot, because you got really good people, but they need to live. They need, and they can't give you what, they're feeling to give you.
Yeah.
So now at the place I am now, I got a lot of music done, new stuff people haven't heard, and all this stuff. I write music because it gets whatever's in me out. I'm actually I'm thinking of just putting it out like here.
Right.
Because at the same time, you can't forget the root of why we were given these gifts and these abilities. It was to inspire and uplift and move. Music is bigger than all of this. If you think about the greats and stuff, how many people follow entertainers rather than politicians in this? Come on, man.
Yeah. No.
The music speaks to our soul. It's like a part of us as beings. Birds sing. Think about it. All this stuff is part of us connecting to the universe in the rawest, truest form. But we've lost that. We've lost that understanding, that feeling. And so I mean, like I said, as artists, and when you're truly an artist and you're for the music and stuff, we're fed things, we're fed songs and things to put through us and to get out. And it's not supposed to be get out because only if, I'm going to get this. It's just supposed to be. And, back they used to take care of people like that, but they don't no more. So you got to think of other ways.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, there's nobody pursuing music that doesn't have a passion for it at this point, because there's nothing else in it but passion, it seems like. I mean, for new people. So you kind of just answered my last question, but it's just it doesn't sound like you have a master plan. You're just going to release stuff as you release it. You don't have like a big release planned or anything.
It's not a master plan. It's just I'm understanding where things are, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like, this is the best probably way to do it, because it's gonna keep coming.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I still might do like, here's a release party, a performance, go out and still play to support it or whatever. But to make a big deal out of it, to make it where it's like, because I give my whole heart and soul to everything I do.
Mm-hmm.
And that rips something from you when it's you can't get it to people, or like it's, what I mean? Just the thing of, it's not about your talent or your ability to do this or what it sounds like and this and that. It's really about your ability to have enough money to market something, or get some people behind you that have that's going to do that. Because it's not, they learn once they've learned that they can make money by selling a rock. That's all they needed to know. Because the money people don't care about the art. They really don't.
It's true.
So if they can pay somebody to play something on the radio over and over again until it sticks in somebody's head, even if it's not a good song, it will do something because they learned that it can. You remember growing up where they used to give stuff to the DJs at radio stations, and the radio station DJ would say, okay, I got a new song by such and such. I'm going to play it. Let me know what you think. Before it became in rotation, it had to be where the audience loved it and received it and wanted to hear it. So it was the request line. They would call in. This is where our big classic, wonderful songs came from, the ones that are timeless.
Yeah.
It's because it moved people right away. It touched their soul. They felt it. And they got to choose. We don't have that no more.
Yeah.
People are like, people go search out things. Yeah, they can go search out things. But as far as what is being pushed, it's like, oh, we know we can sell this.
Yeah.
It's a lot, man. It's a lot of stuff going on that
I know.
People
and
have no
stuff
ideas.
that's happening. It's sad. It's one of the reasons why I love live music still, because you go to a show and you're like, I'm getting the emotion from that performer, and I'm hearing what they want to express. It's like unhindered by anything else. That's my view of it, So, Stone, this has been fantastic. I'm so happy that you had the time to stop by before you went back out of town. We'll put links to all your stuff, but I guess if you can catch a Wu-Tang show, you can see Stone.
Anything I'm gonna do personally will be posted on my socials. So
yeah, and we'll link
everything is under Stone Mecca. So if I do have any shows coming up on my own, I will do that. And I usually post when I have something coming up with these other Wu-Tang and whoever else.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and just say what's up.
Yeah. We'll have all the links. It'll be easy. It's easy to find Stone online. He's not hard to find. And I want to just end it by just saying you are one of my top 5 live subjects. I absolutely love shooting you live, so I can't wait to do it again back here in town.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again. It was great.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to thank Stone Mecca for being my guest today. You can check out all his music everywhere in the links, and if you can catch Wu-Tang live, you'll see him there. The song we heard was Stay Away Shay. Get your own Dallas Famous Podcast t-shirt. The link is now available in the show notes. Thank you again to the Deep Ellum Community Center for letting us record there. Theme song, Unstoppable by Salim Nuralla. Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow, all the good stuff, and share it with your friends. We'll see you next time.